I personally imagine Solana as like the base layer for everything else to be built on top. Back when the first hackathon started, there was nothing like this. Solana is always the base because of how scalable and how cheap it is to actually build things on top of it.
Alpha guys, right? They show like how this one particular wallet went from like $100 or $1,000 all the way to like 500k.
The reason why we wanted to build an indexer is because it always serves as a base layer towards anything else you want to build on top. The main vision is really to simplify search within Solana itself so that people can better understand the blockchain and search the blockchain in a fast and efficient way.
Right now, we really want to make sure that the user experience is unhindered.
If your 5-year-old son or your 80-year-old grandma comes into our Explorer, they will understand straight away what happens on the chain. 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Solana is known for speed, makes perfect sense for the payment space. Huge to see Visa coming. You heard it here first. Solana is reliable. Hello and welcome to another edition of Token Talks. My name is Sam and I'll be your host for today. As ever, we're coming to you from our studio here in sunny Singapore, where the aircon is always set to high. I'm really excited to welcome two guests from a company called Solana FM. We'll talk a lot more about that in a minute. So guys, listen, so happy to have you both on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for coming. Yeah, I know a bit about you guys and really looking forward to hearing your story today. I think if anybody out there is watching is a Solana Maxi or holds some Solana, you guys are in for a treat today. So first of all, I'd just love to hear a little bit about yourselves. Maybe you can, Malcolm, you can go first, introduce a little bit about who you are, kind of how you got into crypto in the beginning. That would be great.
Right. So I'm Malcolm. So I'm the head of growth over at SolanaFM. So how I kind of got started with crypto was actually during a DeFi summer, right? That was after army, COVID kind of hit Singapore pretty hard. We were working from home and well, there's literally nothing to do, right? I was browsing my comp all day. I have him texting me about all this like new stuff that was coming up. And one of them was Solana, right? At the point of time, I think it was like $20+ and whatnot. Yeah, I just, got addicted to it, right? Buying token, playing out with the ecosystem, things snowballed. And yeah, it was just a very, very pleasant experience, right? So after that, I just wanted to contribute more towards crypto in a way, of find more alpha towards crypto beyond just trading like price action, right? I wanted to like contribute like in terms of an infrastructure per se, which was what he was building at that when he was like starting out the company. So he's the co-founder for Solana FM, and he'll introduce himself. When he was founding his company, he was selling Solana data to enterprises, right? And there was a GraphQL layer, things that I had no idea about, right? It's like, dude, you wanna help me out with my startup? I was like, yeah, sure. I mean, I'll help on the side. Let me know what I need to know, and yeah. Things kind of snowballed since then.
Amazing. And when was this? You said DeFi summer, so what year are we talking?
2020?
2020. And how old are you in 2020?
23. Yeah,
okay,
23.
Cool.
Oh my God. That was 3 years ago. 2023 was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, Fathur, love to hear about your story.
Yeah, sure. Hi, I'm Fathur. I'm the co-founder of Solana FM. Got into the ecosystem, mainly ETH and Bitcoin in 2018, 2019. So post ICO, just dabble around with the coins. It was pretty dead back then, but managed to find a few pretty solid chats at a point of time. So they were actually building ETH at a point of time, and DeFi was the main thing. Fast forward like 2 years later, while I was still trading and building some bots, I came across Solana together with Nicholas, my other co-founder. So funny story, I met Nicholas in this university class. So it's called Big Questions. So everyone in Big Questions was writing about political questions and how the world is being impacted by environment stuff. There was 40 students and only 2 of us were writing about how cryptocurrency would change the world. So the prof naturally told us, both of you talk to each other. So we exchanged ideas and then we found Solana. We were talking about Solana because I saw he was trading Solana because his screen was showing Solana and then I was trading Solana. So I thought, okay, let's just talk. Talked about infrastructure, talked about how this ecosystem is actually pretty different from the other L2s at the point of time and L1s like Polkadot, Polygon. So timely enough, there was a hackathon that happened. We took part in the hackathon after our school. Then we built the first ever indexer for Solana. So it was just a side project actually, but then turned out we won the hackathon, and there was actually much demand and interest towards the indexer because at that point of time, people needed to extract data out of the blockchain, and that's when Solana FM was born.
Amazing. Okay, a few questions spring up. First of all, where were you getting your alpha back then? I mean, were you hanging out on Telegram? Where were you getting your alpha from?
Back then, I think I was in a Telegram group with a few people.
Okay.
So actually have a very funny story as well. So back then in 2017 and 18, so Nicholas actually had a Telegram trading group. So
yes.
and there was a lot of like high key investors as of now. But back then they were nothing.
Wow.
They didn't know any like no one knew of anyone. They were just following Nicholas. And then when we raised our seed round, we actually raised from one of the people that was inside the group with Nicholas. And then Nicholas didn't reply him since 2018. so he only replied him 3 years later. When we met him, then the first thing he said was, "Dude, you didn't reply me for 3 years. Why should I still invest in you?" And then Nicholas just said, "That's why you should invest in me." So yeah, it was pretty.
And did he? Did he invest?
Yeah, he
Okay,
did in
okay,
the
okay.
end. So it was a pretty funny story. Back then, I think it was Telegram groups as well as the constant alpha source is always crypto Twitter, CT.
Sure.
Still is now.
Yeah.
And I think the evolution of alpha happening even till now, I think it's still in Telegram groups as well as Twitter. It's just that the people that you hang out with and the people that provide you alpha is just changing along the way.
Yeah. Amazing. So listen, we're going to talk a lot more about Solana FM and then Solana as a whole. So let's maybe talk about, you kind of hinted a little bit about kind of the founding story of Solana FM. You guys participated in a hackathon. Was that a Solana hosted hackathon? And was it Solana FM that you hacked at that point, or was it something completely different?
Yeah, so Solana's hackathons, the hackathons that they host are pretty great. They attract really a wide range of talented devs across the whole globe. And that's when we met like the few key individuals that are actually having projects which are the key infrastructures of Solana right now. So we met Solan, we met Zeta. These guys are actually the ones that provide much value towards the ecosystem right now. So having these hackathons actually serve as a very good ground for builders to just come on board, try the tech, and then if you do well and you find you find that your company actually serves a purpose towards the blockchain itself, you can actually go very far with it. I think the hackathon itself was hosted in 2020 or 2021. If I can't remember.
Should be 21.
21, yeah, it should be 21.
It was the second global hackathon for Solana. So I think it's Ignition.
If I'm not wrong, yes, it's
Yes.
Ignition, yeah.
Yeah, so that was the one. And I think topping off with what Fathur said, right, is with these global hackathons, I think Solana hosts a decentralized and a global one twice a year, right? And the upcoming one is called Hyperdrive.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the ones that's happening till like mid-October till breakpoint. So every year or every hackathon itself, we just see a tremendous number of projects being submitted. There's a lot of cool and interesting ideas. I think those are like perfect avenues for projects to kind of like find out if their idea has any product market fit, how their users really feel about it, and also gauge like how easy it might be to implement on Solana as compared to other L1s or L2s, right? So yeah.
Amazing. So you built this indexer as part of the hackathon, and then what happened next?
Yeah, so we built the indexer, and then the indexer was turned into GraphQL, and then I think that was a point where I think it was a mistake on our end. I think it was a mistake on our end because the indexer is always the base layer.
Correct.
The reason why we wanted to build the indexer is because it always serves as a base layer towards anything else you want to build on top. So be it right now the products that we have like APIs or even Explorer, it all comes from the indexer itself. So indexer is the key main tech that you need to actually explore into other products and build other products. So, and that's the reason why we built it at first. And so the first thing that we tried to do was GraphQL because we felt that at that point of time developers actually prefer GraphQL, but it wasn't the case. They prefer REST APIs. So it's a different form of retrieving data. So, but from that, we realized that just having REST APIs weren't really a good way to go to market, and you're being very limited towards the market that you want to tackle. So that's why we went to build an Explorer instead, because Explorer serves as a universal use case towards not only just developers but also normal users, crypto traders, NFT traders. It just serves as a whole purpose for everyone to use that platform. And then from there, we funnel it towards the different products that we have, like the indexer, like the APIs.
Amazing. Cool. So maybe you can, for anybody who's not familiar with what an explorer is, the types of data that you can retrieve, who would interact with an explorer and why. Can you give a little bit of a rundown of that?
I think an explorer serves as a directory or search engine for whatever happens on chain itself. Solana itself is like a layer 1, so it's an open ledger. Everyone can see whatever happens on chain. So an explorer serves as a directory for users to basically browse and find out what happens there. So input any hash, any account, any name domains that is registered or listed on chain. We actually kind of simplify and make the data readable for users, right? So instead of dealing with complicated hashes and basically lines of data, we parse it, basically clean the data, format it to, users' preference, right? And then users can easily understand what's happening on chain. So it's especially helpful for, say, verifying your transaction has passed, right? If I'm transferring 10 SOL to him, I can send the transaction hash to him. He can actually open up on the Explorer, see what's the amount sent, from who to who, and the status of it, successful or not. That's a very simple use case, but there's also for developers per se. They actually want to look up the program activity on chain itself. You can actually input the program hash. Instead of seeing hashes, you can see that this hash belongs to this program and what's entailed inside the program, right? We try to add features that are value adding to the developers developing on Sol, and also easy for retail users to kind of understand like what's happening there, right? As explained earlier on.
Yeah, it's really cool. I was having played around with that, and one of the I think you guys talk a little bit about in general, kind of making explorers understandable, right? So that people can actually, it's not just lines of transactions, but you can actually understand what's happening. One of the things you guys have done that I really like is this kind of flowchart view for transactions, right? So that rather than just reading line after line of transaction, you can actually see a flowchart that shows this is where funds started or something started, and you can follow it all the way through.
Precisely. So as Fathur kind of mentioned, right, like the base tag is the indexer, and what we have enhanced it with the parsers is basically translating and basically beautifying and cleaning up the data. The TXflow was one of our killer feature that we were driving really, really hard and got a lot of good reviews from like users within the ecosystem. Because reading data line by line, like Malcolm transferred 10 SOL to Fathur, that's one-liner, but when complicated gets exponentially complicated with more parties involved, we thought that it's a good idea to do it visually, right? So that's been well adopted in the space since.
Yeah, it's one of those ideas that just seems so kind of obvious when you see it's been done, but nobody had thought about it, right? Out of interest, do people actually use it? Like, are you seeing on the back end that people are using the flowchart view to?
We don't offer it as a back-end thing. It's more of a front-facing product. But we have the API for it, right? Yeah. So given it to, say, another developer that wants to beautify the charts even further beyond what we've done, they're free to do so.
Yeah, cool. So I was speaking with somebody the other day about, we all talk about like do your own research. Yeah. But for a lot of people, that's really difficult, right? Because if you don't really understand how to read an explorer and trace transactions and know your way around that, it kind of becomes unusable. So we do a lot of reference from Twitter actually, because whenever hacks, exploits, or alpha guys, right, they show like how this one particular wallet went from like $100 or $1,000 all the way to like 500K within 3 weeks or so, right? They use an explorer, more recently a portfolio tracker to kind of break things down systematically and just show like different holdings at different periods. So keeping those users interest in check, right? We just thought visually this would provide a lot of aid, right? So cool, awesome. And so you guys have the Explorer, and you have, I think, doing a lot of work on APIs as well. What's the maybe for you, Fathur, what's the vision for Solana FM? Like, where do you guys want to take it?
Right. I think the way we like to envision Solana FM is like, the Explorer itself just serves as a page where all the traffic comes in. So it must be a universal product where everyone will use it. This model is adopted by Amazon. So Amazon itself is, you can buy and sell Amazon. But developers, when they use Amazon, they kind of understand that, oh my goodness, how is it so fast? What is it being run by? It's AWS. So same way of thinking for us as well. the main page is Solana FM, the Explorer. Everybody uses Explorer, and then they say, "Oh my god, these features are amazing! It's so fast, it's so speedy. The data is so clean. How can they? How can I use this kind of data?" So that's why they go to our APIs. I think I would say it's a dual prong approach where, in the end, the main vision is really to simplify search within Solana itself. So think about it like Google. How can we be as easy to use as Google? So I think that's the question that we constantly ask ourselves.
Yeah.
So like things like predictive search or even just UX, UI in general, so that people can better understand the blockchain and search the blockchain in a fast and efficient way. So that's probably like the main vision that we want to head towards too.
Cool. Yeah. Very cool. And then something I've never thought about really with explorers, but how do you monetize an explorer? Do you monetize an explorer?
Not with the Explorer directly, not yet perhaps. I think advertising is one of the routes that we kind of like explore as we go along, because with users navigating the platform and Explorer being such a broad product, strategic advertising is always like one way to go about it. We did have a few offers, but we didn't pick it up because right now we really want to make sure that the user experience is unhindered. I think referencing like the Social Network, the movie, right? Zuckerberg was very, very insistent on no ads, right? Focus on users, right? So following that playbook for now, right?
How did that end up?
Hey, I mean,
he stuck to his guns.
I mean, they're listed now, right? So, in terms of monetization, excuse me, it will be via the API and dev tools, right? So following up with the vision that Fathur kind of laid out, when users enjoy using your front-end consumer product, they will naturally, especially if you're like a more performance-hungry user, right? They will find out like what powers the platform. For us, we do have two sides of the coin. First side is the Explorer, which basically is like a flex or showcase of the indexing infrastructure we have. On the back itself, on the APIs, the dev tool, the bespoke stuff, that's actually something that we do for our partners. So we do power games, we do power accounting firms with like Solana transaction data. So they don't need to literally like get their hands dirty. It's more of one consultant business per se. They let us know like what their platform is like, what their business model is like, what they need to support it. So I can say like, I think breadcrumbs, right?
Yeah.
It's a data visualization platform. So what they need is a plugin of our API so that they can like the transaction flow, they map it out but at a much grander scale. They link multiple accounts to like a really, really big map. You can see the flow of funds from point A all the way to point F per se. It's like multiple hops. That is like your own wallet to exchanges, so on and so forth. They are doing it across multi-chains if I'm not wrong.
So as more and more people, I think the reason, I think that's a good question on like the monetization side, because I mean a business has to be profitable and you have to find ways of being profitable. So there's two ways you can look into crypto. So it's either the retail side, you want to really focus on the retail side and how do you extract value out of these users, or the other way you can look at it is, Web3 itself is just a layer for builders to build, and the constant stream is always builders wanting to build their own stuff and companies wanting to upgrade their stuff into other chains or even to have better infra. So I think for us, because we've been through building it up, and we kind of understand what we need, what we don't need, what builders require. So that's why we kind of targeted that market first. And I think it points all the way back to back when the first hackathon started. There was nothing like this. There wasn't any APIs available. There's only RPCs, and RPCs it was sometimes it always breaks down. So you kind of need another layer which is a bit more reliable, but also easier to use to plug into your app. So that's why we started this. And like Malcolm said again, 2 hackathons every year. You have at least 5,000 to 6,000 builders coming to try out Solana every year. So every hackathon, so that's like 12,000 every year. So that market itself is pretty big. You just promote using our APIs and naturally they will convert to become paying customers.
Cool. So this segues perfectly into a question I've really been wanting to ask you guys, because I know you have your finger on the pulse. In terms of building on the Solana ecosystem right now, what are you guys seeing? Like what are people building? Where's the innovation coming from? What are the cool projects?
Okay. I think the way I like to look at things is I see the current builders right now who's already established in Solana. What are they building? And then the other layer is the builders that are new towards Solana and what are they going to build. So I think I'll address the first one first, where right now I think the DeFi scene in Solana is pretty hot. Yeah, actually yesterday I just wrote an article about the DeFi scene, the DeFi comeback of Solana. And
I read it.
amazing.
How do you find it?
Great. But I'll let please you.
Right. So yeah, I think in general, like when I was speaking towards this, when I was speaking to this group of builders, they're all focusing towards really launching either upgrades towards their products, which caters the needs of their users, and secondly would be incentivization, because as of right now, they actually took Q1 from Q3 to really boil down and really build what they have to build, and then Q4 is when they really release to the market and try to adopt as many users as possible. So talking about upgrades, I think many of them really focus on just focusing on the speed, because recently Solana okay, there's been 6 months without any outage, so I think that's
Is that a myth-busting statement?
that is a true statement. Hopefully it doesn't go down after this. If not, I think Anatoly will come after me.
You heard it here first. Solana is reliable. It does not break. It stays up.
It stays
6
up.
months.
Stays up. So yeah, I think the infra and the tech itself, I think there's Fire Dancer being built right now, promising 1 million TPS. So considering the tech itself, I think a lot of DeFi guys are really trying to use this technology to the best of their advantage. Focusing on UX, focusing on speed, focusing on trying to push everything towards on-chain, which is obviously it should be reliable as well. I mean, recently as well, Visa came into Solana because of how fast the settlement is and how low the fees are as well. So a lot of DeFi guys are actually trying to put their focus towards using this tech and trying to get out to the market to actually attract the whole Web3 into Solana. So yeah. That's what I see in the people that are currently building now. I think for hackathons, usually it's kind of a spray and pray. Usually, yeah, like we've seen projects from trying to save like the trees, and also this very what's the name called?
The Green Project. I can't remember.
Yeah, so something that's related to environment,
Sustainability and stuff like that,
sustainability coming towards on chain.
You buy one NFT and they promise to plant one tree. In the
Yeah,
name of
something
NFT.
like that.
Yeah.
And then there's also bridging the gaps between like NFTs as well as lending and borrowing. So
NFTFi.
NFTFi, Roblox.
Yes.
Yeah. So this kind of like there's really a wide range of innovations.
GameFi as well on Solana is really big.
GameFi,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Look out for Genopads. I think they just got approved on the App Store on Android and the Apple App Store itself. Yeah, they are a move to earn game that we are also supporting as clients. And yeah, big milestones are coming. Their public beta is coming out by Q4 as well.
Very cool. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll share a link afterwards. I'm sure you can
Yeah,
check
for
that out.
sure.
Yeah, super cool. You mentioned the Visa partnership. So again, like, I mean, Solana is known for speed, makes perfect sense for the payment space. Huge to see Visa come in. I think Shopify as well, right?
Yes.
With
Both.
Solana Pay. Yeah.
Correct.
What do you guys think about that?
I think for that, it's very, very helpful for the builders and also from a PR perspective. Like the fact that there are so many L1s and L2s out there, they chose Solana as like an underlying like tag to kind of settle the USDC payments. It's really, really good. Because like with that itself, builders now have a new kind of utility that can build around it, right? Like payments. Like payments is such a big thing that Shopify and Visa kind of adopted it, right? For the upcoming hackathons, you will see more payment projects adopting payment like infrastructure. So like Sphere itself, they are also like they are doing a lot of payments. What's that?
So it's just Web3 payments in general, infrastructure.
Web3 payments in general, they are really solving like the, how do you say, like the ease, like there's so many shit coins, there's so many different types of cryptocurrencies on Sol, right? So and the standard is always USDC. So there are even simple things like automatically swapping tokens so that you can settle in USDC. These are small pain points that they are always addressing towards like the payments. So I would say like more merchants can actually enjoy like the perks of like the payment features on Sol. So it'll be much easier for everyone, and more applications can be built. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, it's such a pure use case, and it just makes it easier for everybody, doesn't it? If you can get that right. So another thing that Solana was in the news for recently, and I don't know all the details on this one, but maybe you guys can enlighten us, is Solana and FTX and the big unlock.
Yeah.
What can you guys share about that?
I think
What do you know?
Honestly, okay, so I spend most of my time really on chain, so really an on chain sleuth.
Yeah.
If I'm not wrong, I think the account name is 3HDLC or something like that.
Yeah.
So those are the first few letters. Every time it pops out, I just know it straight away is Alameda. It's connected to a few stakeholders, but the thing is, as much as they say or you know, in the letters it says that, you know, we freeze our assets and it's not going to move. It did move. Like I saw it move. There's no way. No, you can't lie on chain, dude. You know, it moves. But I'm not sure what they're doing. Cause these kind of things, like as much as you see it happening, I still don't see them like dumping. I just see them moving the assets.
Yeah.
So recently they just moved, I think, 3 mil back to their hot wallet, if I'm not wrong.
Right.
And then but I honestly have no light into what's happening inside. I just see what's happening on chain. So within FTX, within, you know, Alameda, I'm sure they have their talks. So I can't really comment much because I really don't know what's going on.
Of course,
as well.
I understand.
Yeah.
And it's such a huge mess to untangle, and it's not unique to Solana. And,
Exactly.
yeah, you guys should not have to justify that. But yeah, it's obviously something everybody is talking
I mean,
about.
people can check out what's happening though on the Explorer. So,
Solana FM plug.
shameless plug.
Yeah. So for somebody who's not too familiar with the Solana ecosystem, what else should people familiarize themselves with? You know, if thinking about maybe the NFT space, or what are the kind of famous, interesting parts of the ecosystem?
Famous, interesting, but I think the new standards, perhaps, like NFTs that are not shown as NFTs. So CNP NFTs are like the newer things on Sol. I mean, before going down that path, right? Solana itself has a very robust NFT community. So we have like a range of we have 3 very good marketplaces like Tensor, Magic Eden. More than 3. So Solana and many, many more, right? But these 3 are always like highlighted. So like Magic Eden, big company, started from Solana, went towards ETH. They have their big hoo-ha. And Tensor themselves, they were like the guys that were behind Magic Eden for the longest of time, and they found their own foot ground on Sol. At one point in time, pretty much nothing else was happening on Sol except NFT mints and also NFT secondary sales, right?
Yeah.
Then at one point in time, the narrative was like Solana's an NFT chain because literally nothing else but NFTs. That's when a whole boom of like NFTFi and everything else kind of came along. A lot of utility around NFTs itself. So CNP NFTs got introduced. There's what's the site that you can bin NFTs with just scanning a QR without paying for any gas? What's it?
Shit.
We'll find out after.
Yeah,
this.
we'll find
add the link.
we'll add the link somewhere along, right? But it's basically if you go to
I forgot.
It's alright. We'll
work it out.
find it. Yeah. But basically, if you were to basically scan this QR, you can get airdrop any kinds of NFT that the I guess the user wants you to receive. It's very good for marketing. It's very good for advertising. And it's very cheap, right? So it's cheap, but P and CNFT standards kind of make things cheaper and much faster for everyone. I think we saw a part of its impact at the last breakpoint. Like, dude, I connected my wallet. I just got airdropped a bunch of NFTs. I was like, oh, okay. Some of them had like 3-4 SOL value. I was like,
Dude, yes,
yeah,
I remember that.
nice.
No, there was one. Okay, so to the people that don't know what P and C NFTs are,
yes.
it represents. Oh, okay. So it stands for
I was gonna ask
compressed NFTs.
Yes.
Right.
So what that actually does is that you're allowed to mint, let's say, 1 million NFTs in, I think, $50 or 250.
Okay,
Okay, I
wow.
can't remember that
250,
exactly. $250. So that is that's because of Solana's cheap transaction fees, as well as, you know, the compression rate there, and it's really amazing to see. So the one NFT collection that I think really did well was Tensor. They are using Compress as well,
yes.
and they've been amazing. You know, the marketplace is amazing, built just by 2 devs, and yeah. So
Crazy.
I think going back to what Malcolm said about the airdrop, right? So it was very funny because there was this, I don't even remember his name, but this guy I just met at Breakpoint. He was like, dude, there's this random Clanosaurus sardines, and then I was like, what's that? He was like, just scan the QR code, dude. So I scanned it, and then when I scanned it, I got back home. I tweeted it. No, I had like usually when you tweet an NFT, you get like traction and stuff. I didn't get any traction. Yeah, then I was like, what's this? So I just kept it. Next thing I know, it became 200 sold.
No way.
The floor was 200 sold at
No
one point of
way.
time. I was like, holy nuts. I was like, what's this? And then that's when I got introduced to, Klanosaurus, got to meet the co-founders, the people behind it. So
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
It's the first time I'm hearing of it. Holy
exactly,
shit.
Klanosaurus. Yeah,
And
I
I got
tweeted
3
it.
sold. That's not very
It's
good.
crazy,
man.
yeah. And wow, I think the technology itself that allowed it, I think that was a shocker. Obviously, the floor price was a shocker as well, but the how easy it was to just receive the NFT.
Yeah, the experience
I think,
was-
the experience was amazing. So
Yeah.
all I had to do was scan. Next thing I know, the NFT popped up, and yeah, this kind of technology that is present within Solana itself, I think it can go a long way. This kind of small little features, it kind of helps towards let's say Starbucks has an NFT as well, but it's on Polygon.
Yep.
But for Web2 businesses, if you want to bring them into Web3, you have to make it as seamless as possible, as easy as possible to adopt the technology. So Visa itself, Solana Pay is, I would think that it's very easy as well. Just to adopt. It's probably just the regulations that's probably hard. Other than that, making it easy for Web2 guys to come into Web3, I think that's key for to have more adoption to Web3 in general.
Yeah. I mean, I think like nobody has ever questioned like the speed, the cheapness with Solana, right?
Yeah.
They have never been in question. It's just reliability that seems to be this
Yes.
thing that's hanging out there.
All right.
So in terms of Web2 partnerships, then you mentioned Visa. We talked about Spotify a little bit earlier. Are there other big Web2 brands that you're seeing partner or do things on Solana?
Google has been a very good partner for Solana for a while.
Yeah.
I think Google is trying to offer the whole data set of Solana available for developers for them to play around with it. The reason for that is because, so we built the indexer at the start. So we knew how much data we had to host, and we almost burnt out like 100 or 200K worth of our funds just to store the Solana data because of how large it is. To give you a size, back in 2021, if you were to store 1 year worth of Solana data, I think it was worth more than 1 petabyte. So there's giga, then tera, and then peta. So it's insane. It's really insane. So we had to find compression ways to actually store the data in a more it's in a cheaper way. So Google allowing everyone to just have access towards the data itself, I think it really helps with, again, cost of developers trying to build above it, and Google grants as well definitely help projects that after the hackathon they want to continue building.
Yep.
Definitely can give grants towards this startups to further push out. I think Google actually came to our office as well. He was talking to you, right?
Yeah. I think in terms of the bigger Web2 partnerships you see on Sol, it's more towards the infrastructure side of things. So say I'm a developer, looking to develop on Sol, I'm trying to solve certain problems per se, maybe more towards the payment side, right? But it's not your core business model to basically settle the Visa problem or the Visa partnership per se, because the whole partnership with Visa is that they use Sol as the base layer for the consensus, right? But this itself is like they are dealing with different banks, right? You don't want to be the one settling the settlement for at the settlement problem, right? Because that's not what you want to do. Maybe it's like you want to make sure that buying like clothes on Sol is like easy, but you don't want to settle the payment stuff, right? So the more partners you have that basically solves the infrastructure problem that allows builders to kind of build their core application, address their core users' problems, that's the partnerships that we're looking for. So I think Visa, Shopify are the first few. The later ones of recent. Google and AWS, these guys are also essential, but who knows what else might come on board, right?
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Yeah, it's the Solana brand overall, and I think the as we talked about, the speed, the cheapness, it just makes it ripe for kind of faster mainstream adoption. So it'll be exciting to see what happens in the next cycle.
Yeah, for sure.
On that, okay, so we have a couple of guys in the office here who are huge Solana maxis. Mainly on the NFT side, but I promised them I would ask you guys this question because, Wayne, shout out to you. He wants to know when Sol is going to reach his ATH again.
I think we gotta say NFA first.
NFA DYOR.
NFA DYOR, yes.
When?
When? I think honestly it just depends on macro. Like to me, as much as we consider crypto as like we are very well deep inside like the crypto market itself. I think in the end, liquidity and capital still flows from the government. So until macro improves, then maybe we will see the trickle of money back into the ecosystems, into not just just all the ecosystem in general. Because I think it's a bit dry right now.
Yeah, too true. But we're optimistic, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
We're bullish. Maybe we'll talk about the future a little bit, both for Solana FM and for Solana. Let's start with Solana FM. So what's in store for Solana FM in the future? What are you guys working on now? What are kind of the next big steps?
Malcolm is primed for this question.
Oh yeah.
We've been under the reps for a while because ever since February of this year, we've been reworking a lot of the base layer stuff, the indexer tag, the parsing tag. We've been on a major overhaul. So the Explorer that our users come to love, they can expect like a new face to it coming Q4 as well. Rather in line with like the new protocols that are going
crazy.
Yeah.
I'm sensing alpha here.
Yeah.
Can you? Is there anything you can tease?
We'll try our best to impress. Even the feature of the TX flow that you mentioned earlier on, that's getting a fresh look as well.
Okay, nice, very cool.
Yeah.
How do I? It will come to a point where if your 5-year-old son or your 80-year-old grandma comes into our Explorer, they will understand straight away what happens on the chain. 100%.
Okay.
100%.
Call me when it's ready. I have a son who almost fits that category. We'll do the
Will
little
do.
steps.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's gonna be a whole new Explorer. It's gonna power it. Like it's gonna make data a lot more readable. We spent a good 6-7 months.
6-7 months. Yeah.
Really being really discreet, sharing things with our partners, making sure that this is something groundbreaking for not just them but their users as well.
Yeah.
Amazing. Excited to see that. Yeah. So when Q4 you said?
Q4.
Q4-ish.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Yeah,
Fingers crossed
nice.
Q4. So I think in general really just very excited for this groundbreaking update because I think we really nailed it here to showcase between simplicity and also the right amount of data to show so that everyone truly understands what every single transaction, every single account means to them. So I think one thing I want to compliment is probably DBank. So DBank actually did a very good job in understanding to showcase the important parts of assets as well as data towards traders. But and I think we got a little bit of inspiration from DBank as well.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but as for us, we're not just focused on traders, but we also focus on the whole mass adoption, and I think that very much ties in line with the future of Solana as well. So for me, I personally imagine Solana as like the base layer for everything else to be built on top. So be it financial services, be it NFTs, be it payment layers, everything else, Solana is always the base because of how scalable and how cheap it is to actually build things on top of it. So as a business that provides infrastructure itself, you cannot narrow yourself to, let's say, just DeFi because you need to accommodate towards the NFT guys, you need to accommodate towards normies that just go on chain to do some Visa transaction, and people actually want to see what happens in a transaction. So you need to have overview of like what businesses are building and their users as well, understanding their business model and what their users are actually using it for. So once you align all of that together, then you can actually build a very good product for FM. But going back to the main question is that yes, I think the mass adoption of Solana will come not because of a specific sector where DeFi is going to bring in 100 next million users. No, I think the main focus of Solana and how Anatoly envisioned it is always the base layer where build anything you want on it. Be it something amazing, be it a game like Stepman, it really brought in a lot of people. Be it, let's say, Tensor, or even Magic Eden, NFT marketplace that actually popped up. So this kind of innovations that actually happen on chain it has to be supported, and one way or another, as people are actually brought into the ecosystem, they're using the dApp itself like Stepman and all that. They actually don't know that everything is happening on chain. So that should be the feel of Web3. Like for people to use the applications without even knowing that it's Web3. So I think a few shout outs is Helium. So Helium is a 5G network.
Decentralized 5G network.
Decentralized 5G network on Solana. So they just released a $5 plan, unlimited plan. And everything is run on chain as well. So
Very cool. Very cool.
really amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw. Okay, so that reminds me as well. There is a Solana phone, right?
Yes.
Saga.
Yes, Saga.
Oh yeah.
How's that going? Are people buying it, using it?
You have one, right?
I have
do?
one. Yes, I have
Yeah.
one. But I use it as a phone for Web3.
Yeah.
So I have my own phone, and then that phone itself is just to discover things on Web3 side. I'm not sure whether this is considered as a justification, but I understand why they wanted to build the Saga phone, because Saga itself, like the phone itself, is really an entry towards millions of users towards the blockchain itself. And having a phone itself allows one to just, if it's a phone is built using Solana applications, when you have the phone, the natural thing is you discover everything in Solana as well. So I think that's a good entry towards Solana and a good business strat for Solana to introduce themselves towards the whole retail space.
I think it's about the default apps too. Yeah, for me, I think it's about the default apps. So it's like, say you buy a new phone right now, I think WhatsApps are one of the default applications always there. So by purchasing like a Saga, perhaps there's a list of like default applications right there that they are native to Sol, and you can kind of just interact with it from a mobile perspective, right? So think of it like a good introduction towards Sol, keeping it handy anytime you need to perform a swap, send funds. It's really accessible. I think it's about distributions, if you will.
Yes,
distribution insights. I think it's quite a handy phone.
Quite a handy phone.
Camera was pretty good.
Yeah, but I think it's
pretty basic.
Yeah, it's pretty basic. I mean, it's not like groundbreaking. Like, oh, it's a better Apple. No, it's,
No, I agree though. Like conceptually, it makes sense, right? And and it runs on Android, right?
Yes.
Is there also like the security benefits to it? I'm thinking about in terms of keys and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I think the main importance of it is that the key itself is a hardware key. Okay, the TLDR is that it's more secure. So to go deeper into it is slightly a bit more technical, but yes, it has its benefits of being having an additional layer of security towards your keys itself. Yeah.
Listen, guys, it's been such a great conversation. I wish we could keep going for much longer, honestly. You've definitely converted me not converted, I have some Sol. Maybe I'll go buy some more. Sure. But no, thank you so much for coming in. I've learned so much about the ecosystem. Really impressed by everything you guys are doing. And I mean this in the least patronizing way. What you guys have achieved at your age is so impressive. So
thank you.
Huge hats off. Congrats. I guess to anybody watching, if you want to learn more about Solana FM and the guys here, maybe you can just share kind of where we can find you online and stuff like that.
Most of our updates are on Twitter. We do have Substack and whatnot, but just Twitter, at Solana FM. From there, you can find the rest of the resources that we have, including the Block Explorer.
Yeah. So for myself, I do write about Solana FM as well, and I showcase how to use Solana FM, but mainly I kind of write about the ecosystem in general. My Twitter is 0xfa2. So I post my Substack articles there as well. I post weekly updates about the ecosystem there as well. So you want to find some alpha, probably that's a good place to find alpha.
Amazing. Cool.
All right.
Thanks for coming on, guys. And Token 2049 week coming up here in Singapore. Hope to see you guys around.
Definitely.
Yeah. And if this goes out after Token 2049, we had a great time.
Definitely.
We all had a great time.
Definitely.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so much.
This has been another episode of Token Talks. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's show and you'd like to see more where this came from, don't forget to click subscribe and like, and go follow the guys from Solana FM too. Thank you.